Magazines will occupy a shrinking place in the public's reading habits, but there are still opportunities. Hi everybody, my name is Greg Crable and this is my podcast, Something I Learned Yesterday, where I take one issue from the world of publishing or business in general and discuss it in a few minutes. Bosak's distributed an article about how magazines could thrive in the digital age, which got me thinking about that subject. I have some clients who publish magazines, so it's relevant to me. Let's start with the definition of a magazine. It's a periodical publication that includes a collection of articles on a variety of topics within a single issue. I would insist that a magazine is a print publication, but that's not relevant for today's discussion. A magazine is periodical, less urgent, a laid-back, immersive experience. It's strongly visual, otherwise it's a newsletter. It's composed of articles that are typically of moderate length. It's not a tweet and it's not a book. It's cohesive. There's some concept that ties it all together across issues. Now, a constantly updated website is not a magazine because it's not a periodical publication with articles. I'm not saying anything against a constantly updated website. I'm just saying that's not a magazine. Now, let's think about what kinds of information people are looking for and where they're most likely to look for it. In other words, where in the sea of information seeking and consuming does the magazine fit? First, it goes without saying that anything that can be published in a magazine can also be published online. So to find the magazine's place in the modern world, you have to ask, first, is the magazine format even conceptually reasonable for that kind of information? And two, does the laid-back, immersive, visual quality of the magazine add something of value? Is it better than a website? Now, I have a long list of different types of information needs. It would be tedious to read them. If you want to see the whole list, please go to my website. I'm just going to pull out the ones where I think there is a space for a magazine. Like, for example, emergency updates. Clearly, a magazine's too slow for that. So I'm not even going to discuss those things. Now, opinion, one level abstracted from just having a perspective, but opinion, where do we look for that? We look to podcasts, YouTube, cable, so-called news, late night TV, unfortunately, the pulpit. This could be a place for a magazine. It's not an urgent matter, and it's more of a laid-back experience. Although there's nothing inherently visual about it. There could be, but it's not necessarily visual. However, it does have some cohesion, some connection of a concept. Hobby information seems like a good fit for a magazine format. It is laid back, it is cohesive, and there can be a strong visual component. Science and technology updates seem like a decent fit, although I get the impression that professional scientists read most of this online, so maybe this is only for the amateur scientist. Information from a partisan, ideological, or religious perspective is a decent fit for magazines. It's not urgent, and it can be periodical, but it might not be visual, and it doesn't seem to have any particular benefit over where people would typically get that, which is podcasts, YouTube, the pulpit, and so on. Advice, like legal, retirement, investments, health and wellness, career, social, all those things. This is a good fit for magazines. It's cohesive, and it's sometimes visual, but not necessarily very visual. Like health and wellness can be visual, but I'm not sure legal advice is going to be visual. Cultural and entertainment news does seem like a reasonable fit. An entertainment magazine makes some sense. It's not urgent, and it can be visual, but a lot of that's online. What's the real advantage of the magazine? Magazines can fit into some of these areas in principle, but I haven't addressed the 800-pound gorilla, which is printing and mailing. A magazine, that is a print magazine, has to have a great circulation, a great advertising base, or it has to be able to charge a premium price to survive in the current environment. Now, an e-magazine doesn't have those problems, but it does have to address the periodical question. The periodical nature of a print magazine makes perfect sense because it's print. But with an e-magazine, you have to ask, why is it better to serve information in issues rather than on a constantly updated website? It's a difficult thing to answer. As of right now, images in a magazine are a little more appealing than images online, although that hasn't stopped the online porn industry, which can go straight to hell in my opinion. But this is another dividing line for the magazine. Is there an advantage to a still image over a video? It's a hard one to call. I hope that sort of general analysis helps you put this question in some perspective. It's not as simple as everything is going online, but magazines clearly face lots of headwinds. They're not quick, they don't have video or audio, they're expensive to produce, they have to answer why the periodical format makes sense. In short, they have to make a case for why they're better than what people can get online, and that's an increasingly difficult case to make, even despite the fact that a lot of people would like to sit down and read a magazine. The question the magazine publisher has to ask is, yeah, but why not do that on an iPad? Personally, I like a magazine, but that's the question that the magazine industry is going to have to face and struggle with. So that's my analysis. I'm curious what you think. Leave your comments below. Also, if you want to see my whole list of all the different types of information out there, see the article version, which will be on my website. Thanks so much for listening, and have a good day.